just missed my boat to Asia. Not really true, but I'm on a bridge crossing the Golden Horn, this inlet full of jellyfish down in the water through here. But this is the heart and soul of Istanbul. So many people think by walking over this bridge, they walk over from Europe to Asia. They do not, in fact. The bridge way in the distance crosses over. So it's the Golden Horn Inlet, and that is Asia out on the other side. So I'm up by the Bosphorus Straits. Get people fishing up top. That's so cool to see. It's a beautiful day, late November, but it's still about 14 degrees Celsius, so it's lovely. And I just thought I'd come over here. Now, it's been a number of years since I was last in Istanbul, and I have to say I am having just a wonderful time. It is cleaner than it used to be. It is intensively friendly. It's incredibly mercantile, of course, because everyone's selling everything. And you negotiate and all of that sort of thing, but I haven't really felt the need to do that. Just because I never wanted it. The gentleman is advertising fish for his fish restaurant, which is really yummy. He's moving around. Someone here, but there's all the boats cutting over. So there is Asia. So this is the Bosphorus Strait. As I look north, if we were to travel up through the north there, we would be making our way up to the Black Sea. If we went south, down into the Marmara Sea, and then into the Dardanelles, which lead out really into the Aegean. But more to the point, that is the Greek islands of Greece out there. Now this is, of course, one of the most important historical cities, which I said in a different video. It's extremely bustling and busy and fun, and has been for, well, literally centuries. Of course, it became famous as Constantinople. People have been passing through these waterways and across these continents for literally millennia. And the earliest settlers, the earliest Hittite peoples. I'm waiting for someone to pull a fish up here because they're all fishing off the top of the bridge. If I haven't mentioned it before, and I'm sure I have, I think Turkish food is wonderful. Not necessarily everything, but I'm willing to try everything here. It is yummy. Don't drink the water still out of the taps, which is too bad. Now, looking out to the Asian side of Greater Istanbul, you'll see some new towers. It almost feels like being in Paris and looking out to La Défense. But of course, if I look back, you'll know that you are, of course, in a Muslim country. But these fabulous mosques around. Now, the city fell. Constantinople fell in the mid 1553 specifically. And that was the end, really, of the Roman Empire. So often people think that Rome itself fell in the 4th or 5th century, but it didn't. It carried on here. Emperor Constantine moved the capital to here. Then Justinian, and as I mentioned in another video, the Nika riots. Some incredibly violent history. And then gradually, as Islam emerged as a religion and the Seljuk Turks moved into the area, what our guide was telling us yesterday is that really they mix so much that genetically people would not be by any stretch purely Turkish, but a mix of so many peoples, and even the tourism around here. In fact, at breakfast today, I was chatting with a Guatemalan family, and they were lovely and loving the city. Now, lovely restaurants as we come down the side of this bridge as well. I'm just keeping an eye on this next ship coming in, which is just fascinating to see as they head across to Asia. Now, there are several points at which the continents come together. The Ottoman Empire, of course, ruled on 3 continents: Asia, Europe, and Africa. It's a very significant, well, it was, of course, one of the most powerful empires in what you would think of as the medieval world in European terms. And then eventually became known, you may remember this, as the sick man of Europe. They had a very poor system of accession, of taking over from one sultan to the other. They were so afraid of their siblings that they would keep the next in line locked up until eventually they were freed. Now let's just head up these stairs for a minute and look out further on this bridge. So that's still Europe on the other side out there. But these magnificent shipping routes. Of course, one of the easy things about Turkey, travel in Turkey, is since Ataturk change the alphabet from Arabic to Latin. It's much easier to read. It is phonetic. It's considered a difficult language, although A, so many people speak second languages here, and B, I have never found Turkish particularly difficult, at least to get the basics down. Hello is a very simple merhaba, which is the same in Arabic as well. I don't know if that was bait or a little fish he just pulled up. And I would expect the waters, there's enough current through here that hopefully the waters would be clean enough. Let's just carry on up a little bit more because it's just so interesting to look out and share this daytime views. Of course, 20 million people, massive city. I feel honestly safe as can be, and really statistically safer than a lot of other big European cities. I'm not sure that was always the case, but it certainly is now. Now it might get a little windy as we're up here. Huge amount of tourism from all over the world. Loads of Russians around. Lots of Europeans on weekend breaks. The new airport is massive and well run. About an hour to get down into the center. I'm staying in Sultanahmet, where a lot of people stay, and it does feel very touristy. I don't really want to point the camera specifically at anyone, but people seem to come here from all over the world for hair transplants. So you can see a large number of, well, what would be fairly hairless looking people, but with funny looking heads because they've had the transplants and they cannot put a hat on top for a period of time. And so therefore they walk around with a sort of wounded look, which obviously that kind of medical tourism is a big deal in this part of the world. Seeing signs for dentists as well. So there's the big inlet up there. Only about 5% of Turkey is actually in Europe. Another big bridge. They have an excellent tram system. In fact, I can show you one of the trams coming down the middle right now. First opened, I believe, in 1990. The first time I traveled here was 1992. There's the modern tram system. And incidentally, trams do not brake quickly and they don't swerve. So when one starts dinging at you walking up the street, make sure you get out of the way. I don't know what the statistics are on trams hitting people, but it is something to be aware of. And really, aside from the obvious kind of tourism things of eating and shopping, there is so much to do in Istanbul. It was built on 7 hills. Again, we're right down at sea level here, so there's no altitude. To get over to the Asian side there, it's about a 2.5-hour flight to the east of Turkey, all the way to places like Diyarbakir and Van. Of course, it is believed that Noah's Ark is up on a mountain they share the border of Armenia with. Diyarbakir would be the capital of Kurdistan should that ever become independent, although probably not much hope for the Kurds on that front. And then the capital is not Istanbul of Turkey, of course. The capital is Ankara. Ankara is an interesting city. The challenge is it was designed for about 500,000 people, and it now has 3.5 or 4 million people in it. And so air quality can be very, very poor there. Air quality has improved here enormously. But on that note, I just think I'd like to share a little bit of the cityscape and the fact that we literally are looking at a connection of 2 continents. And of course the mighty Black Sea, so bordering up to the north, Bulgaria and Romania, and of course the far side over to Ukraine, and then of course controversial Crimea. So thank you for joining me here in Istanbul. It's a real treat to share this, a real treat to be back here. So I hope to put up a couple more videos, and I will be doing some live virtual tours, of course. So please feel free to connect when you get a chance, and if you can subscribe, that would be a really worthwhile thing. So just a nice maskless photo, but I am using my mask because of course COVID. So take care, peace and love. Thank you for coming for a walk with me.